from the Catholic Underground.
Today on the show, the Hail Mary Pass. Do you, Popemoji? What hardware should your parish have for the new evangelization? What the RCIA didn't tell you? A new feature on the saints, our picks of the week, and so much more. The Catholic Underground starts right now. Yeah. Put away your creamy nougat, put it back in your purse, Kathleen. It is time for the CU Weekly, cutting through the noise of the digital continent. It's episode number 295. I'm Father Chris Decker. If you are listening live, you can join us in the chat at CatholicUnderground.tv. Joining me this week, Kathleen Lee, the campus minister at St. Michael the Archangel High School in Baton Rouge, locally sourced faith ninja, and juror.
Yes.
Hey, Kathleen.
Hey.
Also, Olivia Galino, student of life and resident Italian food critic. She's also fully instrument rated on making pita now.
That's
Hello,
right.
Olivia.
Via YouTube. Hello, everyone.
That is correct. Father Ryan is, Father Ryan Humphrey is the pastor of the Basilica of the Immaculate Conception in beautiful Natchitoches, Louisiana. Hello, Father.
Hello, world.
Lest I forget Father Ryan, he's sitting there all quiet in his little box. Nice to have you again. And then
It's a delight to be back.
And then Jeff Blackwell. Jeff Blackwell is the technical director of the CU. He's the commandant of the Jeff Star 1 near-Earth orbit satellite. Hello, Jeff.
Season's greetings from space.
That's right, where it's always Christmas.
Every day.
Yay.
Yeah, and Katie Richard, the cat lady for all the right reasons, is in the video cave today. So as you can see, we have a studio full. Mm-hmm. And then the studio was so full, we had to have Father Ryan come in too. So it's a double full.
Because why not?
Because why not? It's a double portion of a Catholic Underground, all in one 58-minute sandwich.
Mm-hmm. Here we are.
Yummy.
So, are you, as they say, ready for some football?
Yes.
See?
How did your team do in its respective match invitational today? I don't know.
Well,
Boo hiss.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter how your team did, but it is time for football, and so we thought that we talk a little bit about one of the most exciting plays in football that actually has a connection to our Catholic faith.
Oh?
And can you guess what it is, Kathleen?
is it the Hail Mary pass?
I do believe
Ding,
that
ding,
it
ding,
is.
ding,
Or the Bluegrass Miracle? No, it's the Hail Mary.
It would be the Hail Mary pass.
Yeah, you got it.
Sorry.
If you were a Kentucky Catholic, there might be a faith connection with
Perhaps.
the Bluegrass
No,
Miracle.
Yeah.
that happened in LSU.
Yeah?
That's LSU.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
we were
there-
playing Kentucky.
Oh, you see, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be the whole miracle bit.
It was
Oh,
not
girl, we
Catholic.
could talk about that all day long.
Take us. Let's go.
So imagine if you will, there are 5 seconds left in the game. Your team's down by 3. You're 60 yards away from the end zone and victory. The quarterback takes the snap, drops back while the receiver streaks down the field. The QB rolls out to the right, ducks under the pass rush, and launches a Hail Mary pass to the faraway receivers. They catch the thing, and the crowd goes wild.
I want to know how many of those terms you actually understood.
I got 92% of them.
He understands field.
I understand
That's it.
field. And I didn't get hung up until pass rush, and then I had to think about I know what that is. He has to get through the people that are coming after him, trying to get it before he throws the ball. I got that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The it is called a football.
Or the old
Pigs.
yeah,
There
That's
you
what
go.
it's called.
the old,
You wanted it. You just couldn't find
the
it.
old boar hide. Yeah. So that's the Hail Mary pass,
Yeah.
right? It's the last second long desperate pass that can only succeed with the intervention of Our Lady, right?
Yep.
And that's what came to be known as the Hail Mary pass. But why? Why not an Our Father pass or a Glory Be pass or perhaps a Sola Fide pass? Because we are a nation with Protestant roots, But in fact, like most things that combine Catholicism and football, the story starts at the University of Notre Dame,
Ah, yes.
the big one up there in Indiana. So the story goes in 1922 in a game against Georgia Tech. It's always when they're playing the Southerners, it seems, that these myths become reality. Huh? So the Fighting Irish said Hail Marys before each touchdown on the way to victory. That was kind of the origin of their prayer interspersed within the game. And in many interviews and speeches, Notre Dame hero Jim Crowley would say that Hail Mary is the best play that we've got. A very beautiful expression to faith, right? Now, the term was only used occasionally, usually in relation to Catholic college football teams. But the Hail Mary burst into widespread use in 1975 when the Dallas Cowboys beat the Minnesota Vikings on a Hail Mary pass thrown by Roger Staubach, who was a devout Catholic. He himself was a Catholic. Yeah. And so exciting, controversial play, as kind of like social media does now when there's something like a really interesting end zone dance or something. In 1975, they talked about this play, and after the game, Roger said, I got knocked down on the play, closed my eyes, and said a Hail Mary. Then he made the pass, and sure enough, it was good. Wow. His former teachers at St. John the Evangelist Catholic Grade School in Cincinnati, particularly Sisters Sloan and Sister Paula Marie, they would later write him and say that they were so proud because in his time of need, one of their students had sought grace from his religion. And from that point in 1975, the Hail Mary pass has been part of our common football parlance. And actually outside of football, too, because, Olivia, don't we talk about doing a Hail Mary pass for other things like, I don't know, the end of the academic year?
Oh, that's right. I hear that term many a time during finals week.
That's right. Exactly. And maybe even in high school.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
One big Hail Mary.
That is correct. So that's the Hail Mary pass. Whenever you go to one of your football parties, whoever makes it to the Super Bowl, when you're at the Super Bowl party, you too can be incredibly cool and go, hey, do you know where the Hail Mary pass came from? It's episode 295, by the way. All right, so we move from the Hail Mary pass to Hail Marys being said for our Holy Father because Pope Francis is on his way to the United States.
He's coming to America.
That's right, he is. Yeah. That's right, and somehow, Father Ryan, I think Neil Diamond will get richer.
I hope so, Father.
He's the Pope is on the plane. Yeah, anyway, so...
Neil Diamond is so proud right now.
Yeah, and slightly richer because now I have to pay him royalties. Yeah. So if you're into using your phone to communicate pictures of your feelings, you've probably used an emoji. The folks at Aletheia, which is a Catholic news organization, the U.S. version, and the company Swift have conspired to create the Popemoji app.
It's so cute.
That's right. That's right.
Katie, big fan.
Katie is a big fan of... That's right. There are no cats, I think, in the Popemoji app, though.
I'm pretty sure I'll live. It's a pope.
Okay, that's the next best thing.
So you can just combine them with the already existing cat emojis.
Could you put a cat with a Pope hat on?
Yeah, like cat hard eyes thing with Pope.
Yeah.
She's already playing this. Look at that.
Wow, this is premeditated emojiing. I don't know. So anyway, the Popemoji app creates a custom keyboard so you can send your friends an animated GIF of the Pope doing, the jog up the courthouse in Philadelphia, like in Rocky. The Pope eating a cheese steak. The Pope losing his Zucchetto in a fit of wind.
Oh,
yeah.
So
Father Ryan, do you have this app yet?
That's a negative Ghost Rider.
Not quite yet. Not quite yet, right?
I'm not an emoji kind of guy.
No, Father Ryan is like me in the sense that he spells out all of his text. I don't use abbreviations.
I don't either.
You don't either?
But I do love a good emoji.
Yeah.
And I'm just not getting into this whole GIF thing.
Oh,
I do.
It took me a long time, but
yeah.
The GIFs are my bread and butter.
That's right, because I find that I can say a lot with a GIF that has a reference to a movie that myself and somebody else has seen.
By a lot, you mean that's the only way you communicate via text?
Well, maybe that is. Maybe, I don't know.
We can neither confirm nor deny.
My first GIF was actually to Father Chris.
That's true. It was,
and I celebrated wildly.
Wasn't it Captain Picard?
No, I sent you an eagle like that, and I was like, and then I sent you several Captain Picards because they wouldn't move. I couldn't get them to move.
Oh, that's right. She was having some
pictures.
animation trouble. That's true.
But
it's still in beta, but she's working on it.
That's right.
Yeah. Now I have several saved.
It's elite. And I know that Jeff, you occasionally will use an animated GIF.
You taught me how.
Oh, I did.
And in fact, you just told me a couple of days ago about the Pope emoji. So
that's right.
Just loaded it up today.
And I think it's actually kind of a neat idea.
Yeah, it is.
Because a lot of young people are excited about Pope Francis. And the way that young people show their excitement nowadays is with an animated GIF or with an emoji. So
that's right.
It kind of makes sense, I suppose.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think, I'm always looking for, I didn't realize that the praying hands emoji is not actually praying hands. It's like a high five.
Yeah. It's
I'm like, shoot.
That's a lie.
Yeah, it's two hands coming together.
It's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't care. Looking for ways to express their faith
Yeah.
where they already are. It's still gonna be prayed hands to me. So
There you go.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing about the emoji, right?
Right. And especially since the Popemoji app has not just Pope Francis specific emojis.
true.
They have the mitre, they have the Eucharist. What are some other ones?
The
Katie.
Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Oh, right. Our Lady of Guadalupe.
I'm pulling them up. Hold on.
That's right. Katie is hot on the trail.
Going to the source.
One of the neat things too about the Popemoji app is they're kind of non-standard emojis. They show up as an emoji keyboard, but they're a little bit larger than your actual emoji. And so you can use them in other things. I think you can use them in Snapchat. You can use them. You can kind of copy them as just a regular old GIF and use it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Right.
Too.
there are a few gifts in there.
Because I like good cartoony art, and these are some really well done. The company that Alethea hired really gave it some thought and some really good input. And there's even one of the Holy Father in the Pope Mobile as well.
It's cute.
Of course there is.
I love this. I want it.
Kathleen is
The
extremely...
one of him, like washing somebody's feet, makes it look like he's actually tickling them. But
Oh, that's right. There is one of Pope Francis washing the feet of a person. Yeah, because he has done that.
Right. Tickling optional.
Tickling is optional.
I'm getting them.
That's right. And I will also tickle just a little bit.
Brother Chris, I feel like you're like the Mr. Miyagi of emojis and gifts.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
a...
I mean, because like,
What a compliment.
how many people in this office, in this place, have you taught how to use?
Oh,
That's just true.
All of them.
Daniel's
All
son.
of them.
text
GIF
emoji.
on, GIF
Gif.
off, GIF move, GIF don't move. Oh man.
There you go. Father Ryan is only mediocre amused. That's right. Well, Father Ryan, you use the animated GIF every now and again.
I love the animated GIF. I used to have a bunch of keyboards on my phone, but I discovered that I'm at a very, very large parish. And so, at least for my diocese, it's large. And more people are kind of expecting me to be a little bit more professional. So my humor has to be a little bit more subdued. I can't really send the picture of SpongeBob SquarePants. You know,
Nor should you ever. Nor should you ever.
what's your
Isn't-
problem with
is that not
Patrick?
universal?
He's hysterical. He's a
SpongeBob
chubby
and is
starfish.
verboten.
I've never actually watched an episode of the show, but the idea of a fat starfish in board shorts is hysterical in every way.
That indeed.
Well, you got me there. I have to admit that's
is
true.
there a good GIF keyboard for Androids? All
No,
you
no,
techie
there's
people,
not.
because
Really?
we haven't. Olivia and I have not found one.
We have to do it the old school way, which
Oh.
if you're good at
Save.
cataloging
using
things,
reactiongif.com?
No, but that is also
An option.
very good option. But I do it the more of the analog way. I just save them all, and then I have kind of a card catalog in my mind of reaction GIFs. And when I'm in a conversation with someone, a lot of times with Father Chris, I'll recall one of them. This is the moment to use it with proper discernment. I go and I find it, and there it is.
One of my favorite reaction gifts that I get from Olivia often is the bro hug from the OC.
That one.
That
That
one-
one's so good.
Oh.
I feel like that speaks to both of us.
It does. It does. It's true.
And I noticed she said GIF, you said GIF.
Uh-huh.
And
Let's
It's a
call the
GIF.
whole thing off.
I think either way is acceptable. Initially, it was supposed to be a GIF, right?
Yeah, it was
With a
originally
G?
a GIF. That's right. But
Okay.
the peanut butter industry lobbied against it.
Oh, I see.
And so now most people say GIF.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Mea culpa.
Don't apologize. No, that's
GIF,
good.
GIF. I'll just say it
It's okay.
21
I mean,
times until it becomes a new habit.
7 times 70.
That's right. And I
Oh,
say
no.
to you, not so. Kathleen just looked up the bro hug from the OC.
I didn't never see it.
I'll have to put that in the show notes, I
always
think.
tell on me.
Yeah, you better.
And now we can do that. Yeah, but it's fun. Like out of the corner of my eye, I can see Kathleen's like, I don't get that reference. So she. It's
But
great.
I
It's
also
awesome.
just downloaded Popemoji.
That's right. Kathleen is now a Popemoji.
I'm gonna Popemoji people all day long.
Now,
While you're in jury duty.
after the show, I'll show you how to make that a keyboard.
What?
Yeah.
We
brain.
are
You're about to rock.
My
the
brain's
Catholic
world.
Underground.
I don't even know.
You can find us and subscribe to us on YouTube at youtube.com/Catholic Underground. Oh yeah, you're listening to the Catholic Underground. We are online at catholicunderground.tv. I am Father Chris Decker, joined by Jeff Blackwell,
Yo.
Olivia Galino, Kathleen Lee, and Father Ryan Humphreys. We're going to be looking a little bit later about the things that the RCIA never, ever told you. But first, part of the new evangelization is using tech and faith, but how much tech does a school or a parish need? Can talent and software suffice, or is there must-have hardware that you've got to have? And Father Ryan, I'll tell you, this morning I was privileged to speak to the young people at Our Lady of Peace Catholic Church in South Vacherie, Louisiana, and they were beginning their part of their school year of PSR, of School of Religion, and they are doing the Alteration program, which is the catechesis on the Mass. And there was a big, beautiful television on a big, giant, rolly thing that was very professional looking. And I said to myself, that is a very professional item to have in a parish. It's not just, build a parish handyman hooking some cables up to an old cathode ray television. And I was really edified. So that perhaps would be a good example of something that you kind of have to have now, right?
Well, I think so. I mean, if you're talking about, for catechetical purposes, I think you have to have some kind of screen. Of course, we know that everybody's got a screen, so you might just want to send that out to the screen they've got in their pocket.
Oh, that's true.
But yeah, I mean, that would definitely be an example of something. Now, if that were to be in the church as opposed to the hall, I would hope Bill the handyman would have a sledgehammer too.
Might not be the best thing to have within the liturgy, but certainly to have something like that for catechetical purposes is important. Now, as you say, Father, too, mobile devices are certainly ubiquitous. They're everywhere. All of us here at the Catholic Underground have a mobile device that can go from picture to phone to video camera at the flick of a thumb. Mm-hmm. And would you say now that that is really the best and only thing that you need for media capture?
Well, I think that you need parishioners who are enthusiastic. And so if you've got people who are excited about your parish, they have everything they need to capture photo, video, they can create writing, they can create text, they can capture anything they need. And so as long as you have enthusiastic people, they have the tools they need to get anything that you need for evangelization.
So before you even get to hardware, you need people. You need the hardware that is a person and the software that is their brain.
Well, I mean, I call them my mom squad at my school, and they're in their mom pants and they're rocking and rolling and taking pictures of every 4 seconds of life.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
And so from there, you rely on the mom squad, and do they have access to your social media feeds?
Well, at the school, some of them do. At the parish, no. At the parish, everything gets sent in and it goes through a central hub. We use Buffer. But I think that, the old days, probably you and I used to do this, the idea of making a website with a gallery,
like a photo gallery,
or even one of those sliders that said, let me show you all the pictures of our church, just seems kind of comically absurd now. I mean, you've got Facebook, you've got Instagram, you've got Twitter where you can post that kind of stuff, and you don't really need to make a picture of it. And if you really want to do a gallery, then you can go with something like Flickr and just embed it rather than trying to create it. I think that really and truly that with social and with mobile, you've covered the vast majority of your bases. And if you add to that a decent bulletin, and you have to have a digital bulletin that is not just a PDF emailed out, then you've covered basically every base there is to cover.
My goodness, so that works well for a parish. Now you're also the spiritual head of your school as well,
right?
And so there's another kind of aspect too, because you have to certainly be concerned about protecting young people and stuff like that, but at the same time, being able to invite young to look at the school feed and to be interested in it, I would imagine is kind of that tightrope to walk.
It's really crazy because Facebook is supposed to be limited to 13-year-olds and above. Of course, it's not. There's 5-year-olds on Facebook, but you have a difficult time distributing there. And of course, education technology now, the big secret is you've got to get it past the classroom. So you want to teach them something in the classroom. You want to give them a Google account so that they can log in at home. They can turn it in by education, Google for Education, which we use. You want them to be able to submit papers via the website, turnitin.com, which is going to automatically check it for plagiarism.
That's
technology
awesome.
In the classroom is amazing because it really wants to get past the classroom, out of the classroom, the same way we want technology at church to go out the back door and with you into real life. And so the adventure of technology in the classroom is astounding. We have smart boards, video cameras, Apple TVs, and Chromebooks in basically every classroom in my school.
Wow. And so the Apple TV, basically, if the teacher just wants to throw whatever she's got on her mobile device or whatever on the screen, or he can do that.
That's right. Or from a laptop or from anything. Any and everything can get on that screen. And so even if we, and in fact, I've built a media server. So if they want to show a documentary, that's already built in. They just click a button and it's showing the media.
Oh, wow. Now, does that interface with the Apple TV?
You know it does.
Father Ryan, I tell you. So, Father, are you going to come down to St. Michael High School in Baton Rouge and help Kathleen out? Because I can see her drooling just a little bit.
Yes, please.
The answer to that question is no.
Got to find your own.
To send you a schematic with pictures and drawings.
Okay.
That's right. Will that work? Yeah.
As long as your dog doesn't eat it.
Oh, I can't promise that.
There is like a 60% chance that will happen.
That's probably going to happen.
So
it makes it hard to have excuses anymore because the teacher says, well, email your paper to turnitin.com, by such and such a time, and so they have to turn it in by 10 p.m. on Friday night. There's no getting by it. And then the paper shows up on the teacher's screen, and it's in red is highlighted. This came from Wikipedia. This came from this website. This came from that website. And so it definitely has changed the teaching landscape for us.
Now, I'm not saying I ever plagiarized because there's something about me for the same reason that I never traced drawings as a kid because for some reason I was like, well, that's not coming from me. You know, turns out that I probably should have been doing that because I would have learned basic anatomy a little bit better for drawing. But anyway, I can't even imagine now because we didn't really have the internet as such whenever we were writing. In fact, in the seminary, Father, it had only just become something that we could copy and paste from. And there wasn't a whole lot going on. There certainly was no Wikipedia. I can't even imagine now just the temptation that there is to use anything on the internet and then to try to pass it off as my own.
Yeah.
So I guess it makes sense that there's a service that can say, oh, red flag.
Right.
What I love about that is that I can tell, because a lot of teachers don't go use Wikipedia, and I don't undermine the teachers, but I'm a huge fan. I mean, when I'm writing something, if I'm going to write a catechism, if I'm going to write a talk, if I'm going to write a Bible study, the first place I go literally is Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Because somebody has put together a well thought out outline. And I can say I want to know everything there is to know about Isaiah the prophet. I want to know everything there is to know about Elijah.
Yeah.
And in addition to a well put together, organized article, I'm also going to get 50 different resources in a bibliography. I love Wikipedia. I think it's great. I don't want kids cutting and pasting, but I want them to imbibe it and be able. I mean, it's a great resource.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what, as we've said on the show before, being able to scroll all the way down to the bibliography, very important, obviously. So that's a software thing. I know Kathleen, as a person who is immersed every day in technology within the parish, or I'm sorry, within the school. Are there some hardware things that are kind of your go-to? Like, are there Apple TVs in your classroom, or?
We're pretty basic. We have we have a projector and a screen. But we have I'm learning a lot about the HDMI connection over the forgive me, the blue one that goes
the Bluetooth.
To the back.
Bluetooth?
No.
Oh, the Ethernet.
Maybe.
Huh?
This thing. The little prongy thing in the back.
The prongy thing in the back. Oh, the parallel port.
Yeah,
the serial
whatever.
Port.
Yeah, the HDMI. So like
Did I say parallel?
You
No,
can plug it into your computer.
You're talking about the VGA port. There we go.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The blue one, Father Ryan.
But we also have a few e-beams and smart boards, which is like interactive projector. Like, so it works a lot for like math and science. So I project it on the board. I don't have to go back to my computer and move things around. I with a pen can move it from the screen.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, my class is different, and we don't use a lot of technology because the kids get so lost in it, and I think that it's so good, and we spend so much time, especially at our school being a 1-to-1 laptop school, looking at how we can use technology. But I'm the one who's constantly saying sometimes you just can't. Like sometimes what's most innovative and what's most shocking to them as students is to get them out of all technology. So my kids don't even take notes on computer. They go back to pen and paper, and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, right." So.
For us in religion, I mean, the first thing that happens in the religion class is the teacher says, put everything away. Get your phones, no iPads, no computers, no nothing.
Yeah.
Because from her point of view, it's a liberal art. There's no need for that. You need to pay attention. You need to think. When they go to math or science, yeah, whatever, who cares? But I mean, in religion, it's absolutely no question. No computers allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I think one of the things we talk about in the Catholic Underground all the time is that signal-to-noise ratio.
Yeah.
And whenever our technology becomes too much noise, then we've got to remodulate the signal. And perhaps the way that we do that is to go manual, to take out the pen and paper. So
I'm wondering if I can. I'm wondering if there's. I mean, I went to predominantly liberal arts schools with some of that technology in there. It was a laptop school in high school, but for the most part, I feel like or at least I'm wondering, how do you incorporate technology from a teacher's perspective, but then still encourage the student to not rely so much on technology? Is there, you know what I'm saying? Is there a way for you to have your cake and eat it too, basically?
Right. Well, I teach seniors, and so for them, it's not so much teaching them teaching them what technology is out there. They know it. Teaching them how to use it appropriately. And for my students, I'm constantly asking them, look, this is simple directions. I made them make a prayer card the other day, and they struggled. I was like, look, put it on construction paper. And they were like, right?
And what now?
I was like, create your own prayer. And they were like, can we just Google one? No. I want you to create it, And so getting them to use technology. We talk about Wikipedia. We talk about correct usage, and not because they'll just find. I asked. Find a quote attributed to your saint. It can either be said by them or attributed to them. And one of my students just wrote the first thing that she Googled, and I asked her, I said, "This isn't even." So, well, it's the first thing that came up when I Googled. Okay,
I recognize that. It's from my Google search.
Yeah, so it's just teaching them how to use it correctly.
Yeah.
Because I think that they use it sometimes as such a crutch, and it's evident in a religion class, especially in a class like mine, like less leadership, because their stuff is cut and copy and paste, even if it's not, because I Googled every one of their original prayers,
because we can copy and paste back into the search engine,
and I'm like, wow, and so just getting them to learn how to use it appropriately, to put effort into it, because you can still use technology and put effort into your work.
Yeah.
Which is something that I don't think young people understand.
Right. Virtue with technology.
Virtue and technology. That could be like a whole course in college, in a liberal arts college. So switching back, if I may, Father, back to the parish for just a minute, talking about websites, because a website is something that is very software-based, but websites are now becoming rather important for compiling all of your different channels together, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you and I have talked about this before, the idea of thinking of what we do in terms of evangelization as a series of channels for distribution.
Yeah.
I'm going to pass information to some people in this way, to others in this way, based on age, based on education, based on interest. And so when we think about those different channels, in some cases you have written material, like your bulletin articles. In other cases you have short form information, like announcements of events that are coming up. In other cases you have pictures of kids at the parish picnic. And then in another case you may have a quotation from a saint about exactly how hard-headed Italian people are. I'm sorry. I needed something funny, and that seemed like an easy
written by an Italian priest, right? Yeah.
I needed something funny. Anyway, but you have any number of these different sorts of things, and then you might also have YouTube videos, etc. And when you think about how do you get all those together, you don't just want to say, here are the 19 links to different services we use. You want to have a place where you can really gather all those together in a way where someone can come to that site and get a steady stream of the stuff you're putting out, as well as proprietary content, that might be relevant for you in terms of who's the pastor, how do you get to our church, et cetera, et cetera.
Filling out the baptismal seminar form and things like that.
Yes, those kind of things too. And so, I mean, I think that's the ideal website. Right now, I'm still struggling to implement that, but I think that's the ideal. It needs to be somewhere too that you can go to, you can find what you want to find. It's not something encumbered. You don't have to, hunt through it like it's Pinterest for an hour. You want to be able to get right where you want to get. So there's a lot that it needs to happen. But I think now with CMSs and various types of website solutions, you really don't need the big expensive desktop publishing system. You don't need the $20,000 designer anymore. You really can go with WordPress or Squarespace or Joomla and implement something that's fairly straightforward and fairly cost effective too.
And then just by way of optional hardware in your parish, how do you feel about the tithing kiosk?
I used to hate the tithing kiosk, but now more and more people want to use their credit cards.
Yeah.
And I think that setting up an iPad in the foyer, especially if you have a large foyer, the back of the church, setting up a place where you can just swipe, a little square dongle and say, I want to make my donation. And I like the idea of having a little card or a token or something that says I donated online that they can put in the collection basket.
Right.
I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I think people feel embarrassed when the basket goes by and there's nothing to put in it.
Yeah.
And people, I think, would feel much more comfortable if they just could say, here's just a little card, so I donated online, and here are my prayer requests. Just drop it in the basket.
Because we forget that the offertory is also a place for us to put those sorts of things too. That we're spiritually not just giving a bit of our financial prowess to go to the altar, but also that offertory procession begins the movement of our heart to the foot of the altar too. So yeah, I think that's a really great idea. Also, real quick, a digital signage in the foyer of your church, with the bulletin or what's happening this week or things like that.
Yeah, and I think we underestimate the value too of pictures in that. Just having images of kids at CCD.
Yeah. Here's our parish actually doing things.
Right. I mean, you want to teach CCD. You want to see there's real kids in there. You want to come to the parish social or the coffee and donuts after Mass. Well, here's people there. And that's so much more encouraging than just a note that says, "Don't forget, we have coffee after Mass."
Right.
I think those are incredibly valuable parts of the digital signage experience that parishes could really use in a classy way, which I don't think that digital signage has to be gaudy and tacky. I think it can be very, very classy.
No, that's right. It can look like a nice hotel and not just a hotel that happens to have the ability to do it. That's right. Well, one thing that we always like to remind you of is that we are the Catholic Underground. Get coffee and help Catholic Underground, cucast.me/mysticmonk. You are listening to the Catholic Underground. We are online at catholicunderground.tv. I'm Father Chris, joined by Father Ryan, Jeff Blackwell, Olivia Galino, and Kathleen. I don't know why I used all of Olivia's name, but it just seemed
rolls off the tongue.
It does. Olivia Galino.
Olivia Galino.
And then Kitty Richard, who is
Hello.
also, yes, she is back there. She is switching the cameras. In just a minute, we're going to talk about things the RCIA didn't tell you. But first, we thought that we might try a new feature from time to time on the show that, assuming I can find enough of them, we might call strange patrons.
Yeah.
So this week, I'd like to propose Saint Benedict of Norcia.
Yes.
Good old Saint Benedict, right?
Yeah.
Well, we know that that Saint Benedict is the patron for those who have been poisoned. We know that he's yet another patron of those who learn, right? Saint Benedict is also the patron of spelunkers. That's right, Jeff.
Say that again?
Pope Benedict is the patron saint of...
Not Pope Benedict.
I'm sorry, Saint Benedict. He might be. I mean, if you are in Germany or in Bavaria, I would imagine that spelunking is a pastime.
He probably has been spelunking.
I would imagine.
He has a very spelunking face.
He does, yeah. That's right. So Saint Benedict is the patron of spelunkers. Now, for those of you who might be going, where is my Google search? Because I don't know what that means. Those who explore caves. Yeah. So Saint Benedict is the patron of spelunkers because he was quite happily living in a cave.
Right.
whenever a group of rogue monks said, "Hey, we need a rule and we need a leader. Will you be our abbot?" I'm not going to lie to you. Will you be our abbot? And so he was quite happy. He was quite happy to stay in the cave, but he did in fact begin to write the rule. He began to abbot these monks, and because Father Ryan was so good at his job, they tried to kill him a couple of times.
Huh. Yeah, that happens.
Good times. Good time. Anyway, so Pope Benedict is the patron of spelunkers.
Not
Saint Benedict.
I'm sorry, did I say Pope again?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Hi.
Another thing that rolls off the tongue.
That's right. Saint Benedict is the patron of spelunkers. So you will thank me the next time that you get caught in a cave and you're wondering now exactly which saint or Pope, apparently.
Who do I pray to?
Do I ask for the intercession of? And I just ended with a preposition. But it's okay. It's all right.
How dare you?
I know.
I love how Katie's voice just comes out of nowhere.
That's right. Kind of like Jeff's this week. Jeff is the
we're tag teaming it.
Disembodied voice today too.
That's right.
The voice is.
I think Jeff could possibly be a little bit more creepy than mine. That he just did. Overall, it's the most loving voice ever.
I don't know, Katie. You can be pretty creepy sometimes. I'm just saying.
I mean, if you want me to go there, I can happily go.
No.
We're gonna turn the cat lady back down to 1.
Yeah.
So.
Bring it that.
Okay,
back.
so you or somebody you know might be in the RCIA. There are some real practical things that might not come up in their RCIA class or in Mystagogia, which is what takes place after the Easter Vigil. Mm-hmm. So we thought that maybe we'd talk a little bit about some practical things that you might or might not get in the RCIA. So the notion that the Catholic faith is fun. Actually, it's beautiful. It's true. It's really funny now how whenever I say that the Catholic faith is fun. Mm-hmm. I get a lot more raised eyebrows. Father, have you ever said the Catholic faith is fun?
I've said the Catholic faith is an adventure, but I've never gone fun.
Fun kind of maybe has kind of a sophomore connotation.
Well, I'm not fun. So I don't think it would be an honest thing for me to say the Catholic faith is fun because people would look and say, "But you're not fun. You're Catholic." So
yeah,
so
well,
no, not fun.
Point taken. So yes, the notion that the Catholic faith is an adventure. And so whenever somebody goes into the RCIA, they're saying, I want to be part of this adventure, Now, we also know, because like of St. Benedict, is patron of spelunkers, the faith is also full of weird and odd traditions and sometimes what seems to be insider information.
Right.
And so the bloggers over at anottedlife.com have got, imagine that, a list that we can kind of go through. It's not an exhaustive list, but it's ones that these folks on the blog learned over the course of their RCIA and that they've been asked by converts and cradle Catholics too. Because as you know, Olivia and Kathleen, there are many, many Catholics who just do things and we don't always know the why.
Right.
Yep.
We ourselves have not gone through the Mystagogia.
That's right. Or we don't do things and we still don't know why.
That's true.
That's true.
So here on the list, number 1, when you genuflect, your right knee touches the floor. Mm-hmm. This is one of those things that I have to continually teach my school students, that it's not like a curtsy, like you're meeting the queen, and the knee actually does touch the floor. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a weird disjointed kind of bow thing where you know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's odd because football players tend to get the genuflection perfectly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had the whole craze of Tebowing for the longest time.
Right.
I would think that more, but yeah. So it's a genuflection. Your right knee touches the floor, and there are certain things to which we genuflect, and certain things that we do not.
This is true.
And this is one of your pet peeves, Olivia.
I wouldn't call it a pet peeve, but it was something that when I learned about it, embarrassingly late in life, I was like, well, that makes perfect sense. And you genuflect before the tabernacle because that's where the Lord is in repose. You do not genuflect towards the altar. You bow towards the altar. Mm-hmm. Now, ideally, they're in the same general direction. You can kind of hit them both in one fell swoop. But that's not always the case. Sometimes the altar's here and the tabernacle's to the side. And it's two separate movements. And so that was, I learned about that, like I said, embarrassingly late in life. But I think that's an important distinction because it's important to be cognizant of your movements.
Yeah, and yet other distinctions in the chat room, Christopher Fisher says, or they use the left knee. Well, actually, when you're genuflecting to the Blessed Sacrament, the right knee is the appropriate thing So if I'm genuflecting to the tabernacle, or if I'm genuflecting on Good Friday to the cross, because that is the only other thing that we genuflect unto. We genuflect to the presence of the Lord who hung upon the cross for us on Good Friday. We afford it the same status, if you will, as the Blessed Sacrament.
I mean, would you account for when you do the Angelus and they say, and the Word became flesh?
And that is generally a right genuflection as well, because you are genuflecting to the presence, to the real presence, or to the incarnation. Right. So yeah, exactly. Now, if you go to meet the Pope, Father Ryan, you're going to genuflect on the left knee.
I'm not sure I would. I'd probably forget. But is that the right way?
That's right. The genuflection to the Pope, because he is not God, it's a left knee genuflection.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
What about the fall on your face?
I'll write that on my hand.
What about the hug?
Right. Well,
yeah.
Well, Pope Francis seems to be one of those guys that as you're going to genuflect, he would grab you by both elbows and pull you up, and then kind of
and hug
laugh
it out
with you, and then you hug it out. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, that'd be me.
Kathleen, we're on board.
He's seen the OC bro hug. He knows.
Yes.
He knows.
Yes.
Yeah. Bring it in.
Let's make that an emoji.
Yeah, exactly. So number 2, at adoration, if the Eucharist is in the monstrance, you don't genuflect on one knee, but instead you can go and genuflect on both knees. Now, I do believe that this is actually an optional thing.
Okay.
I think it is.
It is a mark of popular piety, where I do believe now, this was not always the case, but and Father Ryan will probably correct me, but generally the practice is now that for the Lord, present in the Blessed Sacrament, exposed in the Blessed Sacrament in the monstrance, the only thing required is a right knee genuflection, single knee genuflection, or a profound bow if you cannot genuflect.
I think that the exception, or the place to make note of that, is if you're kneeling in your pew, at adoration, and then you get up and you're going to leave the building, it's not necessary to be on your knees, stand, go down to both knees again, stand again, and then leave. I think you could get by with one if you were coming off of being on your knees. I think generally speaking, this has been the rule when you're kind of coming into the chapel, and as soon as you make eye contact with the Lord present in the Blessed Sacrament, that's when you would stop, not at the pew, but right where you were, and you would go down on both knees. But you're correct, it's not required, but it's one of those marks of popular piety that shouldn't be a function of the law, it should be a function of love.
Right.
And so you do it not because you're required, you do it because you want to acknowledge this is my Lord available to my senses in a way that he is not always.
That's right. So double genuflection, not a bad thing when you're in the presence of the Lord, but as you say, Father, it is an act of love, an act of our popular piety. Piety, of course, being the gift of the Spirit in which we give God what is his due. And of course, again, if you cannot make a genuflection, a profound bow, a deep bow, which is from the waist and not the head, is
make sure you bow your head with, otherwise you're just sticking your butt out to everybody behind you.
That's true. That's true. And twerking in any form is right out.
Oh my God.
It's just not. You don't do that. I said the word. I said it. You don't do it.
That's what kind of show we're on tonight.
That's right.
Don't twerk.
Exactly. See, even
Antwerp, beautiful. Don't twerk.
Yeah, that's right. Antwerp is wonderful this time of year, but the other thing, not ever. You make the sign of the cross with your right hand.
This is true.
In the Latin Church here, right? Right hand, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The way that I always remember to make the sign of the cross actually goes way back to when I was an elementary schooler. And the emblem for our school was a little cardinal, St. Isidore Cardinals. What? I don't know what their battle cry is now.
Shout out.
But it might have been. It might be that. Anyway, so that was on our left chest. And so I always remembered that I had to go across and touch the cardinal first when I was learning to make the sign of the cross. So it was like Father, Son, Cardinal, and Spirit. So and in my brain today, I still say that.
Isn't it like it's close to a dove?
Hey, yeah. And cardinals.
Now, in the Eastern Church, it's backwards.
Correct.
In the Eastern Church, they consciously go the other way. We as Catholics go to our heart first.
Yes.
And the Easterns end on the heart.
Yeah.
So Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they consciously want to end at the heart, whereas we go to the heart first.
That's right.
But still with the right hand in the Eastern Church? Yeah.
Still with the right hand and the 3 fingers together.
Right.
I do
love
like
that.
me some Eastern Church.
I love that.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
Preach.
absolutely beautiful.
They've got the two natures of Christ with the hand wrapped up, and then the three fingers for the Holy Trinity. So two natures of Christ, three fingers for Trinity, and they make the sign of the cross, what we would consider to be backwards.
Yeah.
So cool.
Number 4, as we roll along, the church requires that you go to confession once a year. Just before Easter is a good time to do so. However, going 6 times a year is even better, and going 12 times a year is better yet. I think what the A Knotted Life blog is trying to get at is go to confession early and often.
That's right.
And I think early is a good way to put it, because if you get to confession early, that means you'll actually get in line
right.
and can get through to the confessional, right? And yes, there's what's called the precepts of the church. If you haven't ever Googled it, it's a good thing to Google. And there are requirements that are made of us as Catholics. If you're going to live your faith, going to live it to the full, then we actually have precepts that we're required to observe. And one of those is what my parishioners like to call the Easter duty. The Easter duty, right? The Christmas and Easter duty of going to confession at least once a year and receiving the Blessed Sacrament at least once a year. It's hard for us to imagine but that is a precept of the church, that we go to confession at least once, and that we receive the Blessed Sacrament at least once,
Right.
at Mass, right?
And here's another one of these lesser-known facts is that you aren't required to receive the Eucharist at every...
That's true.
That you are required to attend Mass. That's a holy obligation. But you are not required to receive if you're properly disposed. Or
I was
going
to
to
say, so you mean to tell me that even if I were in the state of mortal sin and hadn't been able to go to confession and hadn't really been able to make that perfect act of contrition and everything, I still have an obligation to go to Mass?
This is true.
Yes.
So if I am a Catholic who is divorced, I still have an obligation to go to Mass?
Yep.
If I'm a Catholic who is divorced and remarried, I still have an obligation to go to Mass? Yeah, all these things. Now, of course, it's important to say that if you are a Catholic who is divorced and not remarried, you may approach the Blessed Sacrament. You may receive communion, certainly. But yeah, just because we've kind of done something that has distanced us from the church, it doesn't mean that our obligations are completely commuted.
Right.
And that's an important thing to mention. We still have obligations to fulfill if we are baptized as a Catholic. And so we must.
Right.
Let's see. We're going to move on down the list here. Number 7. We want to make sure that you get a chance to look at these on the blogs. We won't say them all. You can eat meat on Friday when it's not Lent, but if you do, then you must do some other kind of penance. Did you know that, Father Ryan? I know I try to abstain from meat on Fridays as well, even when it's not in Lent. And
yeah, that's generally the rule. And in fact, back in England and Wales, it's again the rule now. It was kind of never not the rule here, but it was changed in such a way as to say if you can't do that for some reason, do something else. Not something gigantic, but something simple to remind yourself this is the day Jesus died.
That's right, exactly. Friday being Friday. Every Friday can be a good Friday. And then, of course, let's see. Building a Catholic culture in your home should not stress you out. You don't have to do all the things, and you don't have to do the things exactly like the person next to you. Give yourself time to figure out what works for your family and your season in life. I think that's very good. Oftentimes when we talk about religious practice and popular piety, sometimes, especially in the family, we get really nervous.
Right.
And so you don't have to get nervous, because remember, our expressions of faith are supposed to get us closer to the Lord. And as you would say, Father, prayer is a journey. Right, our relationship with God is a journey.
Yeah, I would think that's something we have to remember. Conversion is a result of prayer. Conversation, that we did, this idea of talking with God, becomes meditation, letting God do the speaking, and then that meditation becomes contemplation, where we let God simply love us and we don't worry about ideas getting in the way. So a good life of prayer is dynamic. You're evolving to further and further depths, rather than just saying, I'm going to keep saying the same prayers over and over and over again every day.
And it's a real movement, not just of the heart, but the whole person, closer and closer to God. Taylor in the chat room says at Nichols, which is Nichols State University in southern Louisiana, she says, we have Mercy Mondays. Father Andre stays in the confessional all day. Adoration is happening in the church all day as well, every Monday on a college university campus.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
I want to go there.
Well, you can, and you have to pass my rectory on the way, so you can come for lunch.
No, I want to go be a student there.
Oh, you want to? Well, you could do that too,
Yeah.
but I think the people at your job might ask questions.
Fine.
I know. Well, before you begin asking questions, let's not forget that part of the show that we like to call
the CU Pick of the Week.
All right, for our first CU Pick of the Week, I don't know, how you feeling, Jeff? You feel like...
Oh yeah,
like picking of the week?
Absolutely. I can't remember what it was. Let me get down here to my notes.
It's okay. I will use my Karnak powers to say it is an icon of jazz.
Yes, and this is a lady I've actually, if you've listened to any, I mean, country music, jazz, rock over the last 30 years, she's been in session work and has released us just a whole slew of CDs over the last 10 or years or so. Her name is Benji Adair. And you can listen to her on Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, and
all of them.
Yeah. But it's just terrific jazz. It's just it could be like cocktail jazz. It could be like romantic background music. It could be something a little more peppy, like stuff from Nat King Cole or Frank Sinatra. So. I don't know. It just hit me this week. And not that it's a Catholic thing, but it's it's very pleasant.
Father Ryan will tell you, I love the jazz.
So check her out. We got the link in the show notes there, and she's all up in age now. Her husband has passed. They were, I mean, she's got a resume. You got to just check it out.
All right. So BG Adair.
BG Adair.
There you go. I will check it out. In fact, Kathleen's already thinking about if she's going to listen to BG Adair on the way home.
I might.
Have you a pick of the week for us, Kathleen?
Yes, I also have a music group kind of on the opposite spectrum. You know, I've been talking about going to see Need to Breathe and the concert that I went to see.
Yep.
At Red Rocks. Awesome. One of the opening band, because there are 4 bands, is a group called Colony House. And I think that you might actually like them because they're labeled an indie rock band.
Well, you know me and indie rock.
Yeah, that's true. I think they sound, in my opinion, they sound a lot like The Killers.
Oh, okay.
That kind of, and they're
interested.
really, really good. It's actually, and they're very much like Need to Breathe. They're not labeled a Christian band.
But it's in there.
And they don't say Jesus in their songs.
But they are a veritable ragu sauce of theology.
Yes. Because 2 of the band members are brothers, and they are actually sons of Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Oh, saddle up your horses.
Yeah, so who is a very popular Christian musician. Yeah.
What's the band's name again?
Colony House. Colony House. They're super cool. If you go to their website, it's pretty awesome. They have a really cool logo. I mean,
and you know, you got to have a name, a logo, and then you know what kind of band you got.
Pretty much.
Is the album cover a ginger baby with curly hair?
A ginger kid with curly hair. Yeah.
That's
Their new album is When I Was Younger. Is what it's called. When I Was Younger. So
it's a good album.
I just downloaded it. I'm super excited to listen to that and Benji Adair. Yeah. That's right. So Colony House, super awesome.
ColonyHouseMusic.com for those of you who can't wait for the show notes to come out.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Katie, you got a pick of the week in there?
Yeah.
Oh.
I can. Last week I went to a bachelorette party and we did something it's called Clue Carré. It's one of those like live escape games where you get stuck in a room.
Those scare me in my head.
It's really awesome. So what happens is they put you in a room and you have 60 minutes to get out. And they say the only thing they tell you is that everything in the room is used to get out. And so you're just thrown in there and you have to basically tear up the room and find, number clues, find keys, and it's awesome.
Housekeeping service must be so angry every day.
I do have to gloat a little bit. We made it out with 12 minutes to spare.
Oh,
wow.
That's
when
skills.
And the escape rate was 51%, which we nailed it.
You were above the curve. That's awesome.
We were. It was a lot of fun. It's a good team building activity too.
I would be afraid that I would have 60 minutes to get out of the room before they pumped an anesthetizing gas in there or something. I mean, I don't like the idea of being confined in a room with clues.
Well, your mind gets so tied up in what you're doing that you just kind of forget you're in such a small room.
My goodness. No.
She had to say it's small.
That's right. There you go. So I don't know. I do know. I have friends who have done this. It's kind of a new thing. This new up and coming thing where you go into a room and solve clues. I would probably enjoy the problem solving thing. Father Ryan would make it past the curve without a doubt. Because Father Ryan's a problem solver.
That's very sweet. Yes. Father Ryan's a nerd. You can admit it.
Yeah, it's okay. That's really what I'm getting at. Is your pick of the week nerd related?
Actually, it is, and it's brief. There is an app called Hemingway app, named after the famous author, and I'm a huge fan of this app because you write, or you copy your text into it, and then Hemingway will evaluate the quality of your text.
Oh, wow.
It'll tell you what reading level you're at in terms of grade level.
Oh.
It'll tell you which sentences are hard or very hard to read. It'll give you alternative phrases that are better. It'll tell you when you use passive voice or too many adverbs. And it can then export into various other kinds of document formats. It's excellent for writers. I mean, when I write my bulletin, I tend to do a lot of writing. And it's incredibly good. It's very sharp. It's humbling. It is free on the website. It's $10 for Mac, $10 for PC, and I think it's $10 for the iPad, iPhone app as well. Amazingly good app, and if you do any quantity of writing and you have any and you desire to do better at that, this is the way to go.
This is really cool because if you don't want to pay the money for the app, as you say, the website allows you to do all of that as well.
Right, and one of the things that's really exciting for sermons is it tells you what the read time is, the time it takes you to read this text. So if you were writing a homily or sermon, you could say, what is the read time on this? And if it's 4 minutes for me to read, it's going to be 10 minutes for me to speak.
Oh, cool. Well, my goodness. Olivia, your pick of the week.
My pick of the week has to do with the first two picks of the week, kind of.
Yay.
These are called symphonized headphones. I brought visual aids today.
That's right.
Like
so if you're watching us on the stream at CatholicUnderground.tv, you see these headphones.
There are perks. Yeah, and these are headphones that I bought. I listen to a lot of music, but I don't like to spend a lot on music listening.
Accoutrement.
Yes, apparatus.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought these on the recommendation of my brother, and they're excellent sound quality with not a very hefty price tag to them. So I highly recommend them. They have this version, which is the original. They have an updated version.
Mm-hmm.
I just liked the original better. They also do in-ear earphones if that works better for you. But
are these ones over the ear?
These
or
are
are they
over
on
the
ear?
They're technically on ear. I don't like the ones that are over the ear because they got into my jaw. But they're very comfortable, which is something that's important if you're going to be wearing these for a long period of time. And they're also stylish if that matters to you.
It does.
And why shouldn't it?
The comfort and the sound quality are key to me.
Very cool. And my pick of the week is The Shadow Hero. It's based on a Golden Age comic series, The Green Turtle. It is an Asian American superhero that actually never got a backstory or anything. Well, Jean Lin Yang and Sunny Liu have developed a backstory for this. So this is a graphic novel entitled The Shadow Hero. It's a good read. It's generally family friendly. So I recommend it as my pick of the week. Well, Jeff, we always thank those who are good to us with their prayer and their financial offering.
Yes, with humble hearts we do. Portions of the Catholic Underground are brought to you by audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground, audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground, and also by Mystic Monk Coffee. More information, CatholicUnderground.tv.
That's right. If you want to join the growing number of Undergrounders, go to CatholicUnderground.com/donate. If you'd like the show notes that accompany us, as well as all the podcasts and everything, you can go to CatholicUnderground.com. You can sign up for our live show notification by following @CUTV Live on Twitter. Our panelists have been Kathleen Lee, Olivia Galino, Father Ryan Humphreys. Our technical director is Jeff Blackwell. Our research assistant and leader of the Boys and Girls in the Lab is Jim Hayes. Our video director is Katie Richard. And you know me, I'm Father Chris Decker. You can follow me on Twitter @DigitalCatholic. We hope that we've helped you to cut through the noise and find that still small voice. We are the Catholic Underground. We are Faith Gone Digital. And we will see you next time.
From the Catholic